Time, weather, and
Audio Jungle.
Welcome to my channel today. I truly appreciate you being here. I really do. You know, when I listen to the talking heads discuss how to invest and how to incorporate precious metals into their portfolio, I hear the word portfolio and my mind wanders to the fact that the word portfolio has always been alien to me. When I heard that I needed to diversify my portfolio to survive, I usually begin to suffer from what I call the imposter syndrome, as the word portfolio has always made me feel inadequate as having enough money to even be able to think about diversifying. I never thought I had enough money to actually call it a portfolio. Even back in the day when I was a licensed stockbroker, my timing of stocks was always off. I was never much of a buy and hold kind of guy. And those days in my early years always took the air out of my long-term investing goals because usually it was some event in my life that began to kick me in the ass.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates.
When I was younger, I was always looking for things to happen financially in a time frame conceived in only my mind. I would hear the direction the herd was running and I would try to get there, wherever that is, before getting run over. Many years ago, I remember thinking as a stockbroker how great insider information would be. And literally, I was a stockbroker when the movie Wall Street was popular. Being illegal to use insider information was never a privilege for me as I was never a sitting politician.
I want you to take a look at the account of Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. Representative Pelosi just bought a total of 50 out-of-the-money calls on Apple, 150 out-of-the-money calls on Microsoft. Now, the two transactions totaled anywhere between $1 and a little bit over $2 million. One would say it's the kind of bet that one would make if they were a greedy capitalist, right? In fact, you would make a capitalist blush. And then, of course, a professional poker player would also blush because the timing always seems to be so impeccable when it comes to Nancy Pelosi trades. In fact, take a look at Apple's buy. Look where it is. This buy here from Apple in the blue, the buy from Microsoft in the orange. Pretty good move since then. Maybe Nancy Pelosi knows something we do not know, or maybe runaway inflation has her nervous as well. Between her and her husband's gas-guzzling Porsche, and of course that house with a carbon footprint of a football stadium right at kickoff time, maybe she needs the extra bucks. Maybe that's why she's taking the extra risk. Sadly, though, not many of us can follow her. Not many Americans have the same luxury that she has. And I got to tell you something. People are upset about it. They do not like the idea of these folks in Washington, D.C. being able to make gargantuan bets like this, particularly when they have information the rest of us don't have.
As I have aged, I understand that I will never get the market timing right in the short term. I have now realized the long-term direction of the stock is so much more important than the dip it will have tomorrow. Old Fat Marine used to be a speculator and today is an investor. When looking to purchase silver or some mining stocks, buying the dip has become meaningless to me. Actually, it's a tad bit humorous as I have seen little more than a slow and steady decline in the silver market in the last year. I am no longer looking for the dips. I am awaiting the big one, the mother of all dips. As time has passed and when your stack starts to become full is when mining stocks start to come into full focus of possibility. I do not want to keep stacking at home as one event of many types of events could just wipe it all out. Take your pick. Life happens. You know, looking back in history, recent history, kinda, if you've been alive since October 1st of 1970, when Walmart stock first came out. It was $16.50 a share. And since then, Walmart stock has split 2-for-1 11 times. That means that if you bought 100 shares for $1,650 in 1970, today you would have about 205,000 shares. And it would be worth well over 15, 16, 17 million, depending upon where you are in the timeline right now.
Not yet. Almost.
220, take them. 209. Yeah, got him.
Not yet. Almost.
Either way, it's a lot of money to me. If you could go back in time and prepare, would you not gather as much Walmart stock as possible if you knew this information? Wouldn't you make it your mission to use that little piece of knowledge to set into motion the possibility that only money can provide? Why stop at 100 shares? Why not race and scramble to gather as much as possible? If you are convinced of the looming silver bull run, you would not be so casual about maybe getting an ounce next week. Fortunately or unfortunately, we cannot go back in time. We can only look back into history as observers. Most people ignore history, all the while history shows us the way. If we would have had the foresight to just purchase the right company at the right time, we would be much better off today financially, would we not? Knowing the direction something is going is all important. It is literally the golden grail of investing. Period. Old Fat Marine is not the type of person to sit down and read reports endlessly into the night like on the TV show Suits. I would have made a horrible lawyer.
But if you want to stay, there's nothing more you can do. My advice is hold on tight and enjoy the ride.
For Old Fat Marine, I like to let those that are smarter than I pave the way. I know there are so many people in the world that know more than I do, and when it comes to history, my attention naturally peaks. My history passion is to learn about how things were back in the day. I love to immerse myself in the current events of that day in history. From the arena of current events of the studied time period, I love to take a moment and look around at the decisions that are made.
It was just over 90 minutes beyond President Bush's deadline for Saddam Hussein to leave Iraq that U.S. warships and planes, there were F-117 stealth bombers involved, launched the opening salvo.
Looking at the history of silver, I feel quite blessed to be living where I am now on the timeline called life. Since I pay attention to those that are smarter than I am no longer even watching mainstream news sources anymore. It's all propaganda. Everything on the news cycles today is some level of a message that has been crafted for the public to receive. The majority of citizens go through their day and pay zero attention to this media filter that shapes their lives. Most people are too busy juggling the day as the weeks and the months start to slip by in what appears to be faster and faster. Your neighbor, to your left or your right, no longer believes that silver is even a form of money anymore. That is an amazing thought, and you really should stop and ponder it.
We're going to create a timeline to show the similarities between ancient Rome and the United States today. Just like the USA, Rome started out as a republic after overthrowing a monarchy. So let's begin with their early economy in around 500 BC.
One only has to look at the 6,000 years of history silver has existed as a monetary metal in the world to see the silver event that is on the near horizon. I feel blessed to live during the timeline of silver at this moment. Silver is going to rocket in price to levels that will stun the public. How do I know this? Because in today's society, the life of Jesus Christ, I'm not preaching here. In today's society, the life of Jesus would only be worth about $675 based on the spot silver price. Anyone paying attention would easily see that today's world, Jesus is undervalued when concluding on the metal value alone. Remember, the Bible tells us Jesus was sold for 30 pieces of silver. And roughly each piece in the day, current events of that time, was about an ounce. So I guess safe to say the life of Jesus would cost $675 today. Once the world realizes what the heck is going on with the price of silver, it'll no longer be able to be suppressed because of the free market. When that day arrives, the price of silver will increase radically, but yet the sun will still rise. And then the sun will set on our linear time experiencing of life. I'm waiting for that day.
Time to make the donuts.
The singular thing I understand is that YouTube is a free service, and therefore the information on YouTube is quite naturally discounted as trivial at best. I do not pretend to compete with the voices that talk surround facts and information like candy. You look at Rick Rule, he is on such a higher level than I am, or Lynette Zhang, Yankee Stacker, Economic Ninja, the list goes on, and yet these people are simply ignored because the medium of transmission is undervalued because YouTube is a free service. I am always cruising YouTube looking for more knowledge and experience that the mainstream propaganda does not cover.
And
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets are true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
I have listened to so many YouTube channels that my thought processes started to turn into soupy mush. As time went by, the messages from all the channels started to fall in line. A common theme of the information is that the entire fiat currency system of America, let alone the world, is teetering on collapse. When I say this out loud, I am the one with the issues. The fact that there are so many people who are starting to see this and understand that the fiat collapse means that the time is drawing closer with each and every day. And as with all things money, there will be crooks, scams, and failures. Old Fat Marine is not the smartest person in the room, but one only has to look at those people that have come before. One only has to plug into those with the wisdom from previous days, years, and even decades or centuries. The current events of today and the direction the price of silver will be heading is going to be one for the history books. The events that caused the silver price to surge may happen in a few days. It may take months or even years before it happens. But whenever it happens, you will still need money to purchase food and such. The important question is not when. Don't ask it. The important answer should be, who cares? When that day arrives, you will still want to eat. That day is coming, and we should cherish each day we have as another to prepare just a tad bit more. Keep the frustration somewhere else and follow that inner voice of reason that is whispering about preparing. At this moment in time, the spot price for silver is $22.42 an ounce. Since I am convinced the power of understanding history, I see the future so clearly. After stacking silver for a while, the next logical step in my portfolio has to be mining stocks. History shows the amount of money that can be made in mining stocks, mining exploration stocks, and also precious metals royalty stocks. What can be made can easily exceed a person's dreams. And I dream big. And I also believe in having an anchor stock in a mining portfolio. I use First Majestic Silver, symbol AG, as my anchor stock, with a holding of at least 50% of it in my portfolio. I saw Keith Neumeyer on YouTube recently. He is a CEO who really cares, and he has connected, and it has caused him to travel. Maybe that's why I like AG so much. The lower AG goes in price, the more I want to purchase. I love to use the remaining funds that I have as sprinklings for companies that may or may not do much of anything. I love to listen to other YouTube videos and then do research. I currently hold varying quantities of maybe 10 mining sector stocks. Now that I'm interested in mining, I must admit I am not surprised to learn how many bad mining stocks there really are. But that's another article. That's another video. The world of navigating mining stocks is not easy, but those are the waters I have set sail for as a destination. Now, to navigate through this shit and keep moving forward as the day of financial reckoning moves closer and closer. But please, don't just see a mining exploration stock and jump in both feet with everything you got. A sprinkling, an anchor. Semper Fi.
Mailed in my company a postcard a few weeks back requesting information on penny stocks that had huge upside potential with very little downside risk. Does that ring a bell? Okay, great. Well, reason for the call today, John, is something just came across my desk, John. It is perhaps the best thing I've seen in the last 6 months. If you have 60 seconds, I'd like to share the idea with you. You got a minute? Name of the company, Aerotine International. It is a cutting-edge, high-tech firm out of the Midwest awaiting imminent patent approval on a next generation of radar detectors that have both huge military and civilian applications. Now, right now, John, the stock trades over the counter at 10 cents a share. And by the way, John, our analysts indicate it could go a heck of a lot higher than that. Your profit on a mere $6,000 investment would be upwards of $60,000.
Jesus, that's my mortgage, man.
Exactly, you could pay off your mortgage.
This stock will pay off my house.
John, one thing I can promise you, even in this market, is that I never ask my clients to judge me on my winners. I ask them to judge me on my losers because I have so few. And in the case of Aerotine, based on every technical factor out there, John, we are looking at a grand slam home run.
Okay, let's do it. I'll do $4,000.
4,000, that'd be 40,000 shares, John. Let me lock in that trade right now and get back to you with my secretary with an exact confirmation. Sound good, John?
Sounds good.
Great. Hey, John, thank you for your vote of confidence, and welcome to the Investors Center.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man.
Bye-bye.
How'd you fucking do that?
Bro, that's